Okay, so let's look at the leather strapped watch. This is a very basic buckle. It's what I consider to be the most common style of wristwatch that you will see. Uh, it usually has some sort of tab here for the buckle to go through, for the strap to go through. It has a pin and a buckle, and once that's undone, the watch will come off. My personal favorite method for stealing this is with the thumb. You'll see this a lot with some of the old time pickpockets. If you do some YouTube research, this is a very popular one back in the day, as it were. The method is simple. You're going to take hold of the strap of the watch here, holding the face of the watch around the back so the watch doesn't slide round. And with your thumb, you push up here to create this loop. Your thumb continues over and takes the loop out. You're going to clip the strap between your thumb and first finger, and giving it sort of like a little pull, it brings the pin out. And as you push it back, your thumb is going to knock the pin out of the way, so you can feed the watch back at an angle and then strip it away and out of sight. It's a nice, swift method of taking the watch, and traditionally speaking, this would be done by taking the person's arm, and as you lifted them open to look maybe inside the jacket, as you open the jacket and provided cover, you peel the watch back, pull that pin out and strip it off the wrist. Nice and effective, nice and quick. Once again, this is all about attention management and giving them something to focus on whilst you get the dirty work out of the way. So let's just look at this one more time. With the thumb, push up, create a loop, bring the loop out, clip the watch here so that you can pull the pin. Once the pin comes, you need to be careful that it doesn't relocate back in the hole, which is why you use the thumb to knock the pin out of the way and then strip the watch clean from the arm. I'd normally take the watch behind their back maybe, or depending on where their attention is, if their attention is on me, I would just drop the watch out of frame and pop it into my pocket. So that's the thumb steal method for the watch steal. Okay, so this method for the watch steal you can find on Chappie Brazil's Watch Steal DVD. I believe it's actually Chappie Brazil's method himself. It's a very popular method for this watch. I will say this. If you're looking to get more information on the watch steal, there is no better resource in the world than the Chappie Brazil Watch Steal DVD. I believe it's still available from all good magic retailers, etc. It goes into some great depth, and to be honest, the bonus footage of seeing Chappie at work is worth the money. Even if you never learnt to steal a watch, just to have it in your collection is highly advisable. But here is essentially the basic method. This would be done with the hand beginning palm up. I mean, I'm lifting it right up to eye level so you can see clearly. You're going to take the watch, you're going to take the person by the wrist. That really is what you're doing. You're just holding onto their wrist. Usually you'd have some other thing going on in the hand. Maybe you'd be giving them a coin to hold on to. Something else would be going on. Sponge balls, whatever you like. The method itself is keeping your thumb against the face of the watch. Your middle finger reaches around to the end of the strap, and you're going to bring that strap up to create this loop. You continue on to bring it out. The Chappie Brazil method was then clipping the strap between the finger and the palm of your hand. Now, unfortunately, my finger doesn't go back that far. I can touch here, but I can't touch up here. So I move slightly and just re-grip with my thumb and first finger just to give a little tug to get the strap out. I don't get caught with this because it's all about attention management. You're doing something else. As you push forwards, you're going to push at an angle to stop the pin going back into the hole, and then with your thumb from behind, you can strip the watch off and take it away. It's a very, very good steal. Again, for much more depth and insight onto this watch steal, I really would suggest you look at the Chappie Brazil tape. There's so much more to benefit from than just the basic technique. Now, when you're doing this in practice, when you're doing it for real, this action of pulling the pin out is covered by turning the hand palm down to get this strap out. So all of the action is going on underneath the wrist as you're pulling the pin and you're feeding it back. Oops. Once the pin is pulled, it's very hard to do it up here. You're feeding it back in and stripping the watch off. Now you can curl it up and hide it behind your hand. So even if the person is looking at your hand, there's nothing to see. So that's the Chapu Brazil method of stealing the watch. Now what I will do with this, I will show you that if you buy yourself, or if you already have a leather strapped watch, you can practice both of those techniques on your own wrist to get the movement right. So first one, the thumb steal. If I place this back onto my wrist, I'm going to move back slightly to give you a better view. If I place this onto my own wrist, I would like to point out this isn't my watch. This is a rather fetching lady's watch. You know, obviously if I was to own a watch, it would be, you know, big and butch, completely unlike this. But if you have a leather strapped watch, you're going to hold your arm like so. You're going to reach over and take hold of your wrist like this. It's slightly contorted to watch, but when you're doing it to yourself, you're doing it nice and comfortably, and it's about learning the technique. And this way you can take hold of your wrist, you can use your thumb to push the strap, clip the strap to get the pin out, and then feed it back and strip it off your watch. Okay, so it's just a nice, easy way to practice this technique yourself. As soon as you have the watch on your own wrist, in position, in fact, I'm going to turn that round so you get a better view. Now, normally I do this on the inside, but so you can see it, I'll do it this way. You can grab hold of your own wrist, push the pin, clip it, pull the pin out, feed it back and strip it off. This way you can practice yourself, sat at home watching the television, you know, on the bus, wherever you like, just not in the car while you're driving, because that would be illegal. The other method, the Chapu Brazil method, you could also practice on your own wrist. And the way I've worked out to do this is, rather than putting the watch on this way round, turn the watch upside down and then move it to the inside of your wrist. So it's going to go on your wrist upside down and the wrong way round. Now when I tighten this up, in fact, if Daniele can just let me borrow his arm, just come and let me borrow your arm. So if you imagine that his arm is here, this would mean, if I turn this round, that the watch would be this way around, and that would be the correct way for him to wear the watch. And if I do that, if his arm was this way up, that would be the way the watch was on his wrist. So remember, we're starting with this technique here, so we're in the same position. Thank you very much indeed. So this way, with the watch upside down, so if I hold my hand with the thumb up in the air, the strap of the watch is pointing down. So now I can practice the technique of reaching over, lifting the pin up, lifting the strap out, pinching and getting the pin out, feeding it back in at an angle so it doesn't relocate, and then finally stripping it off my own wrist. So that's two versions of the watch steal, the thumb steal and the Chapu Brazil finger method for the leather strapped watch.